Well, welcome back everyone to a Crucible of War market update. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great week. I'm going to start out this video like I've started them out in the last 3 weeks. The market is still going crazy. Every day things are changing. Sales that you see on eBay are different than sales that you see on TCG Player. So make sure you're doing your own research whenever you are buying or selling. I really believe in these prices at this point in time, but make sure that you realize that this is April 9th at 11 p.m. So just know that. Let's go ahead and give you a couple things. Number one, I always love to highlight Mitch from the Midtown Merchant. Mitch and I have become great friends. I don't just say that. We have great conversations. Me, Mitch, George from Compete Sports have great conversations. It's just been fun to hang out and talk to them. I love highlighting them on the channel because they're busy doing sales and I'm the content creator. So it's kind of fun. There's a promo code JustLove10 that Mitch has that will save you 10%. And patrons, you also get a monthly discount code that JustLove10 is just a one-time use, but if you're a patron of mine, you get a monthly 10% discount code as well for the Midtown Merchant. But if you can't find your cards there, use my link in my my description for TCG Player. That really helps the channel out, helps support me. You don't save any money, unfortunately, so make sure you go to Midtown Merchant first. So that being said, let me tell you one other way you can support me and support content like you're about to see, and that is by joining my Patreon. And if you join my Patreon, you get access. It's just $5 a month. The $3 tier sold out a long time ago. At $5 a month, you get access to a collection tracker that has all the values that update in real time with my market update videos that I do 3 times a week. It's got Alpha, it's got WTR Unlimited, ARC First, ARC Unlimited, Crucible First. We will have Crucible Unlimited was just announced today. We're ready for Monarch First Edition. We're ready for Monarch Unlimited. We're set up all the way through with all the promos, although the promos don't update as regularly. Anyway, long story short, it's a great way for you to track your collection. I also have a $15 a month tier that is a podcast called If I Were Investing. That's a weekly podcast that I tell you what I would be doing if I was investing heavily into Flesh and Blood. That being said, let's get started with our Crucible of War market update. So let's go ahead and start over at the boxes, the sealed boxes. A sealed box of a Crucible of War right now, you know, something that used to be $100 or $400 or $500 is now selling for $1,250, $1,250. Last week it was sitting just under $1,000. This week it's up 28%. I want to show you something though. You know, we are seeing things start to move. You know, we did have a $1,400 sale this week, but kind of the $1,250 is where I'm leaving it at as what is the average sale this past week. And they are definitely on the move up, and we will see at the end of this video, does the EV extend that current price of the box? Because the last couple of weeks it has. So we'll see where we get there. So all in all, we are up 28%, and you can see that graph. It's just something fun to look at if you have Crucible sealed product. It is still trajecting pretty rapidly to the north, but we had a little stale point for a couple times, but we are still on our way up. So let's go ahead and look at the Fableds. What's the Fable called, Louis? The Arknight Shard. Sorry, but I do know what I'm talking about, kind of. So here's where we are. We are at $6,700 for the Arknight Shard. This was bids too, which is kind of nice to see. Interesting that last week a 9.0 sold for $64, and last week where did we have the price of the non-graded was at $5,800. So it'll be interesting to see where the next 9 lands. I'm very curious to see that, but we are at $6,700 for a non-graded version of the shard. So $6,700. You can see that we have just seen some great increase since those print run numbers were announced, that it is way less printed than a lot of people thought. A lot of people were saying 60,000 boxes. It turns out that it's like 35,000 or something like that. 37.5, 32.5, I can't remember, around 35,000. Let's get to the legendaries. So on the legendaries, the big thing is Cheyenne shows no signs of stopping. I know in a lot of the conversations that I have, it's like, when is Cheyenne gonna start flatlining? Because nobody knows. I mean, this is a non-graded Crucible of War Cheyenne first edition selling for $8,500 on April 2nd. I thought that this one was crazy last week. I didn't think it was crazy. I think that it makes sense, honestly, but it's crazy to think of a card like that, but like $8,500, man. Absolutely insane on eBay, a sold listing. And then a 9.5 sold a couple weeks ago for $10,000. So maybe this guy thought, hey, it's a 9.5. There's some free tendies right there, but lots of interesting stuff happening with Cheyenne right now. The Tunic sitting at $6.25. I think I got that from TCG Player if I remember. It's shown some signs of moving. It's obviously moved. It's doubled in price. I mean, I guess it's moved the same as Cheyenne, right? Cheyenne has doubled price since back then. But it's spring tunic. I guess it's just not that exciting for some reason. And then the 20 blade up to $1,200 as well. So all in all, that puts us at a 32% increase in all the legendaries. I count 20 blade as a legendary because it's so rare, and it's nice to have a few other cards here to track. So all in all, your average legendary then would be sitting at $3,400, $3,441.67. That's a 32% increase. And I mean, just look at the graph. We were flat for 4 months. For 4 months, you could have picked up these cards cheap. For 4 months, you could have picked up the Cheyenne. Some of us couldn't have picked up the Cheyenne at $2,000 either. But anyway, we are up 32% this past week. Let's go to the cold foils. Lots of things moving on the cold foils. I got to say this right now. Again, I want to restate, the market is literally all over the place. You can see a sold listing on eBay that's at $350, and then you go to TCG Player, and the lowest listed is $220. And I mean, there's just multiple things like that. So what I do is I go through eBay, I look up all the sold listings, and I put all the numbers in. Then I go to TCG Player and I look to see, did anything sell for more than the eBay sold listings? And if the answer is yes, I either take an average or I use the highest one, depending on where the market kind of is going. But if there is a current listing of a card that is underneath the price that I've got from eBay and TCG Player sold, or even on Facebook, if there's a lower price that I see on TCG Player, then I'm going to use that price as long as it's from a reputable seller. So I just wanted to highlight that. We're going to talk about a few of those instances, but there were more than we will talk about to make sure that this video doesn't get too terribly long. So let's talk about some stuff. Mandible Claw up to $240. The reverse I saw for $220. All right, let's talk about Sledge of Anvilheim sitting at $340. And you're like, Louis, you're crazy. You're crazy, Louis. Well, I mean, what's crazy? Because one sold for $480 and another one sold for $300 this week, and then another one sold for $385. So it's like, what do you pull up as the price, right? Like, how do you so I went with $340, but just keep in mind, honestly, I'm gonna bump that up, because $340, I mean, $385, $300, $475, it's just like all over the place. So that was one of the ones that's like all over the place. I think TCG Player was even a little bit lower. Maybe that was a current offer on TCG Player that I took. Harmonized Kodachi sitting at $225, Edge of Autumn at $180, Zephyr Needles hardly moved at all this week, Centauri Sabers at $250, they increased it by $100. A lot of cards are on the move. Plasma Barrel Shot, though, not on the move, $225 to $225. Redliner $200, not very much movement. Reaping Blade, not very much movement. Aether Conduit up to $230, there's a $50 increase. And Talishar the Lost Prince up to $265. So a lot of the rares moving. Again, I've talked about this with the cold foil commons, and now we're starting to see it with the cold foil rares, that a lot of those lower value cards are easier access points for some of the lower level collectors. Some of those collectors who don't have the capital to be purchasing a Cheyenne are starting to see, oh man, I really want a Crucible War cold foil to have for myself. And so that's why I think you're starting to see a lot of movement in those lower value cards. However, the majestics are a lot of the same thing, honestly. Majestics are moving like crazy. There's some interesting things we'll talk about. But Skullhorn up to $445, Crater Fist to $600. A lot of the Guardian cards this week were a little more active than last week or the couple weeks before. Breeze Rider Boots up to $697. This is one of those cards that bounces around like crazy. The history of this card is kind of fun to look at. It was $350, it was $290, it was $250, it was $350. I mean, it's just kind of funny. It went down to $275, but now it seems to just be trajecting upwards. Just a reminder for those of you who do the podcast, the $15 tier, you get access to this document that I'm looking at right now, and you can see the historical data of this whole document. You just copy it for yourself, and then you can see the data of this whole thing. So just wanted to remind you of that. The Courage of Bladehold sitting at $950. That's up from $850 last week. Visiortronic Model I, not really much movement there, going up to 700. Purge Grapplers jumping to 750. Bloodsheath Skeleton at 950. That was actually somebody who sent me that said, hey, I purchased this on TCG Player. I was able to confirm it. So lots of like average people, just like you and I, at 950 buying a Skeleton. Metacarpus Node Cold Foil at 800. And then, okay, let's talk about an interesting one. This is Gambler Gloves. I've got it at 830. And this is one of those ones that, like, there are sold listings for this. Again, 1400 for Gambler's Gloves, sold on Tuesday. 1250 sold on Wednesday. So there are sold listings way higher than this, but if you go to TCG Player Gambler's Gloves Cold Foil, $830, and we'll even go to the active prices for you so you can see it. $830 from a reputable seller. So again, like, that's where I feel like, what do you want me to do? I'm not going to tell you a market price is higher than the current offer on the market. So the current offer on the market is $830. My guess is that this might have something to do with the eBay Bucks promo that was going on this week. That might have been what helped drive the price up, or people are sleeping on TCG Player. I don't know what to tell you, but I left it at $840. I just wanted to tell you, if you look at it, you're going to see confirmed sales at $1250, and that's what makes this pricing thing so difficult when you're pricing to buy or sell a card, because you really need to go to all the markets to look at the prices, which is what I try to do here for you guys. But remember, this is just a snapshot of right now, at 11 p.m. on a Friday. So all in all, your average cold foil price is $433.13. That's up 37%. Just keep in mind, the pull rate of a cold foil in Crucible is not straight, right? Like, you don't just randomly, it's not even, right? You don't draw a majestic and a rare evenly. It kind of backs up. So we'll talk about that at the end of the video. The majestic rainbow foils, lots of weird movements here too. Again, there were cards that sold on eBay for higher than that were listed on TCG Player. There were cards that sold on TCG Player then higher than they were on eBay. Everything in the market is in bananas right now. It's completely berserk. It's a lot of fun to look at. Massacre up to 50. Let's see what else was interesting. Fine Center dropping in price down to 58. Twinning Blade, the Rainbow Foil Twinning Blade, this is not the extended art, up to $116. Spoils of War Rainbow Foil dropping to $185. I don't actually remember why I had that in red. I think there was one that sold on eBay or TCG Player for higher. I think on TCG Player one sold for higher, and then one on eBay sold for like $140. So I kind of just split those two. Again, the market was just kind of bananas this week. Let's see, magnetic shockwave up to $38. Runeblood Barrier, still seeing significant movement in Runeblood Barrier. I mean, 3 weeks in a row of just solid growth at 87, but not as rapid as growth as Chain Lightnings. I think somebody did a buyout of Chain Lightnings on TCG Player all the way up to $131. Because there is one listed at $131 and one sold at $131. And there's none on eBay at all. So Gaze the Ages at 70, Aetherize at 40. The tome, the Gorgonian tome, sold for 300, and the snag back up to 90. Somebody finally started going back to valuing the snag up out there. It's been low for a while. All in all, a 15% increase, a lot of decreases, a lot of increases, but a lot more increases than decreases. Your average majestic rainbow foil sitting at $67.59, and you can see all the charts are just kind of fun to look at. That's just because it's showing the most recent value, but let's start it right there, and all the charts are just more fun to look at. Let's go ahead to the regular majestics. Nothing significant. The Skeleton is still sitting above 100. Metacarpus Node dropping below 100. A lot of those kind of equipment cards actually lost a little bit of value this week. Even like Courage went from 185, retracing down to 150. It'll be interesting to see how the Crucible of War Unlimited makes the market react. My gut is that it won't initially. We'll see what happens when it's printed, but I don't think we'll see too much significant movement next week. I think there's enough people buying Crucible cards that even if more hit the market, I think it might at worst flatline. That's my opinion. We'll see how that happens. But Metacarpus Node I already talked about. Nothing real significant. I'm going to say like a 3% decrease. It's really fun to look at the step stairs though, right? Like we had a step up and then flatlined, and then we stepped up and then we flatlined. It's like, okay, next week are we going to step up? I mean, it's even like the same loss, like 3% and 35% gains. Thought that was super interesting to see. The rainbow foil rares, remember on the rares, I just pull TCG player low on these cards, and then I take out any outliers. There were no outliers this week. Average is down 6% to an average of $15.84. The heroes still sitting pretty good. Springboard Somersault, you know, it's just not moving at these prices. There was actually a sold listing last week at 69, I believe, but just not moving too terribly much. Cash in still sitting at 42. Yeah, nothing, no terrible movement. I mean, it's still a pretty just kind of solidly flat line if you average things. The rares, again, there is some value in the rares. A lot of the heroes have some value. A lot of the weapons have some value. I mean, 5, 6, 13 bucks for a hero. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Let's actually see what it did this past week. It actually went down this week, so down 2%, but kind of just really a flat line there. Average is sitting at $2.43. Your common rainbow foils, the biggest things that we look at are the Rune Chant tokens. We look at the Seismic Surge token. Some people bought it out at the $18 mark, and now it's up to $30 on the TCG low. Ira still sitting at 21. Let's see, a Whirling Mist Blossom. That card is so funny that has value. I know the story of that card. That's so funny to me. So the story of that card is that somebody told me they were testing all the sellers on TCG Player. So they bought a random rainbow foil common from each store that was selling Flesh and Blood cards. Well, that drove the price up to, you know, what was going on. That drove the price up. This was way back, way back. That drove the price up to $6. It was at $3. That drove the price, and then it's just slowly gained value. It's so funny. It's just such a funny story. I love it. Okay, sorry, moving on. That was neither here nor there. I was looking for the Rune Chant token. It's in here somewhere. Rune Chant still sitting at 310. And then Crack Bobble at 65. Those are really the things you guys care about. The tokens. The tokens have value, and Crucible is funny. All right, the commons. Nothing really to talk about. Your average is worthless. All right, let's get to EV calculations. So, like I told you, your average cold foil rare is sitting at $231. Your average cold foil majestic is sitting at $748. So, what I've done is taken the cold foil averaging that you get a cold foil majestic, like half as often as you would get a cold foil rare. So that averages out to a one cold foil for box sitting at $287. The majestics would give you 6 of them in a box. You get $96 for the box. 2 foil majestics will net you $135. Your 41 rares are going to get you about $100. Your 5 foil rares will get you about $80. 1 in 10 chance at one of those major legendaries gets you $344 in your box, and then 1 in 40 chance at hitting the shard gets you $167 value in the box. So that puts your true box EV. This is the number that we track, your true box EV. If you were to open 40 boxes of this would be your EV. It would be sitting at $1,308.71. Now, if you don't get a legendary and you don't get a fabled, then your average is sitting at $797.05. But if you don't get a legendary, you don't get a fabled, and you get a majestic, then your average value is sitting at $1,256. But if you get no legendary, no fabled, and you get a rare cold foil, your average is sitting at $741. I hope that all makes sense for you. And then we have a new thing here where we are doing the price of all the cards in the set. So a full collection of Crucible of War would be sitting at $31,069.45. So this is if you had one of each version of each card. So a non-foil, a cold foil, a regular foil of each specific card, you'd be sitting at a value of $31,069.45. So I had somebody ask me if I could do that for them. So that's what's sitting there. And then we do have an EV chart here. As you know, we're at 1310. That's a 17% increase across the board from last week. We've had nothing but gains lately, 21%, 10%, 26%, 17%. as you're anticipating what might happen next week if the market trends the way that the market does. So let's go to the top 10 cards from Crucible of War. If you want to take a look while you're listening, you can do more. I just talked about the top 3, although 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 10 are cold foils. So Perch Grapplers gaining 105%, going from 365 to 750. That's a gain of 385. Chain Lightning going from 65 to 131. That's a gain of 101%. And Sledge of Van Valheim again going from 200 to 340. That's a change of 70%. Again, if you want to take eBay though, it's going to be much higher than that. The 10 non-foil gainers are Unified Decree going from 750 to 13. That's 73%. Poison the Tips going from 15 to 26, that's 73%. And then the Perch Grapplers, again, another Perch Grapplers going from 50 to 75 for 52%. All right, the cards that lost the most value, actually had some cards lose some value, unlike last week where nothing lost value. Fine Center, the Rainbow Foil, was on a winner's list last week, and it is retraced this week, down 23% to $58. Mangle, the Rainbow Foil, going from 30 to 23, 23% loss. And Spoils of War, an interesting card to lose value for once, going from $225 to $185, a loss of 17%. Massacre, the non-foil losers, going from 28 to 15, that is 46%, and Fine Center going from 47 to 33, that is 30%, and then the Snag going from 22 to 16, which is 27%. I hope that was helpful to you to see. I mean, if you want my opinion, this is crazy to me that I kind of put this in my Discord. We have a great Discord community. It's been so much fun to chat with people. I kind of put this in my Discord today while I was doing this. It's like, one of these two things are off. Either the singles are off, and we are all paying too much money for singles right now, or the sealed value of these boxes are off, and whatever's happening, the sealed value is just not there. Maybe too many people are taking their money from Crucible and putting it into Monarch. Maybe that's what it is. It's just that there's a new set and there's tons of people who are like, oh man, I could sell off Crucible. I'll see better gains in Crucible. I don't know what's happening, but the EV is still an arbitrage from 1200. I mean, you can realistically opening a box and you are taking right now a small gamble that you won't hit a majestic. You're taking the gamble that you won't hit a majestic, but there's enough other cards. I don't know. I'd crack the heck out of it right now if I didn't have my cards already. But anyway, hope you have a great day. Remember, if you're looking for a way to track your collection, if you want to track your Crucible collection, you can do so right here on my Patreon. Just $5 a month. KitchenTableTCG, patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. And, I think it's a great thing. I'm extremely biased, but I hope that you find it helpful in your endeavors to track your collection. And then we also have that Patreon. This includes access to my Discord channel, which is awesome. You also get discounts on box breaks, a bunch of stuff. Anyway, hope you have a great day. Remember, be kind to the people around you. And really, thanks for watching the videos.